Hi there, my name is Dane Wright, and I was a past client of Montel's. And, I just wanted to share some things, some takeaways from working with him. Number one is that he made the whole process like very smooth. I really felt like I wasn't out on my own. I felt like he really cared about what I was doing. He wasn't just like another, ads manager who just like does their job, gets in, gets out. Like I could tell he really cared, and he really wanted to take the effort to make sure that my launch was good. By the way, what we were working on is launching an ads campaign. I work as a career coach, so I was working at launching a new program, and so it was really helpful to have him there because I had never launched a campaign before, and Montel just made it so easy. And throughout the whole process, like it really felt like he had my back. Like we were meeting consistently. He gave me so much added support. Answered so many questions. Actually helped with like the copywriting, which I'm still learning to get better and better at myself. But he taught me all kinds of things, and it really helped out a lot. And before working with Montel, I was honestly trying to do it all on my own. And I was trying to like run Facebook Ads Manager all by myself. And it was so freaking confusing. It was so challenging. There's so many switches. Even while I was like first doing the first few months, like there were so many switches and buttons and things that you have to worry about that I just didn't know how to do. And in fact, it really takes an expert to know what to do. Montel came in and he was just like, Dane, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, cool, bada bing, bada boom. And sure enough, we got, a solid turnout. It was my first, campaign, right? Launching a brand new program to brand new cold audiences. And I ended up getting, 6 subscribers, and those 6 subscribers, ended up each paying, a total of like almost $2,000 each. And so $2,000 each. And so it was just like a really solid launch. It turned out profitable the first go. And overall, I was just so stoked, so happy to work with Montel. So if you're on the fence with about working with Montel, highly recommend him. I had a great experience, and all the best to you and your business. And I hope no matter what happens that your business thrives, but it definitely will with Montel. So do it. Bye.
So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new video on the channel. In today's video, it's going to be somewhat of a small case study on how my agency actually helped an online business coach take his business from literally 0 to 12K in 24 days with Facebook and Instagram ads. So what I've got planned for today is we're going to jump into some slides, maybe go back and forth a little bit. Who knows, we're going to be jumping into some slides definitely though on how I actually broke this down and actually did this using Facebook ads and going through the behind the scenes so you can actually replicate this for your coaching business, your e-commerce business, and even for your social media marketing agency if you run one, and you pretty much probably do run one if you're watching this channel. But yeah, for your clients as well, you're going to be able to replicate this. So that being said, let's jump straight into the slides and go through exactly what happened, how it happened, and what I did to basically produce these awesome results. So guys, again, welcome to this short case study on how my agency scaled a brand new online coaching business to a 6-figure run rate in literally 24 days with only $1,300 in ad spend on Facebook and Instagram. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is breaking down exactly how my agency was able to help a client of ours for our agency. So again, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Montel Gordon. I actually run an advertising agency, and we actually routinely scale businesses to 6 and 7 figures. Here's just one of the case studies. If you want to see more case studies, I'll leave a link below to more case studies. But what I want to do is jump straight into this just in case you guys don't know. But guys, what I want to do is quickly just break down who I was and why I am talking about this sort of stuff so you can get a feel for who I am if you're new around here. If you're new around here, make sure you also drop a like, comment, and subscribe. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing again is breaking down exactly how my agency was able to help a client start and launch their very own online coaching program from the very ground up and scale it to $12,000 in just 39 days in total using Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, the 39 days thing is a delay because there was obviously work we had to do before we launched his ads and stuff like that. But the ad period, so the day we actually turned the ads on to the day we turned them off, was only 23 to 24-ish days. So what I'm going to be doing in this video again is I'll be breaking down the tools we used, the strategies that we implemented, and everything you basically need in order to replicate replicate this for your coaching business or your e-commerce business, or even your clients' businesses if you're running, ads for a coaching business of some sort. So let's jump into a little bit of background on the client. So Dane Wright actually was an old client of ours. We worked with them on around 45 days or something like that. A couple of days, there was actually a delay before getting into the work. He had to kind of hold off on the launch as well. So it actually ended up being around 45 days in complete total, 39 days of work, and then 24 days of actually advertising. So Dane was actually a client I worked with for around 45 days back in August 2020, and he came to me through a referral as I was initially working with his sister on her Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So she basically was doing the exact same thing. She had a coaching business and was using a kind of like the one-off launch method or model, if you will, basically where it's like you launch one time, you get this. It's almost like in a coaching business. I'm pretty sure if you're familiar with coaching businesses, they do like launches and stuff like that, where they launch like a boot camp or a new program, a new mastermind, that sort of thing. So basically, guys, I was actually working with his sister, and she actually referred me because I was doing great work for her as well to Dane. And then Dane, we actually just was able to kill it for him, and I'll be jumping into exactly how he did that. But yes, she did have a very similar business model, and I was running her ads as well and got some awesome results too. Let's talk about the timeline. So the first thing I actually had to do and help this client out with was to build out his funnel. Now, as you can see on the right hand side, I've got like a little video going through the funnel that we actually was able to build. I actually was able to help him on what sort of ads he needed to run, the actual funnel build itself, like how to optimize it. With coaching businesses, I've noticed it's very hands-on type of client because you have to help them from complete A to Z, whereas like most e-commerce businesses, they already have some sort of funnel in place, but with, or like some sort of website in place, such as like Shopify store or something like that. Whereas with online coaching businesses, they have a funnel that needs to be taken into consideration because the funnel needs to convert as well, or your Facebook ads are not going to work. So I know that I basically had to help this client with this funnel to ensure that it was done correctly. I had to ensure that the copy was compelling. I had to ensure that the call to actions were very clear. It had testimonials on there, and it had a very simple buyer's journey and lots of value stacking. And I also had to make sure that the funnel built a lot of credibility, because credibility in the coaching game is a huge aspect to generating awesome sales. So what we had to do after the funnel was built, guys, is actually spend a good few days just making sure that everything was ready. Again, this was their initial launch. They never actually launched anything like this, or should I say it was his initial launch. So we had to test stuff such as the pixels, make sure they were firing correctly. We had to make sure that the domains were and the URLs were all linked up together and were properly in order and stuff like that, and they weren't just those spammy looking ClickFunnels links that you get by default. We had to make sure that the copy and the payment gateways were all working, and most importantly, we had to value stack and earn credibility and ensure that he had irresistible offers. Very important, which is why there's a key there. Irresistible offers is what we had to help him work on as well. So after the funnel was complete, we actually moved on to his pricing structure. I could immediately see when Dane came to me that he was like severely undercharging for his coaching program. So what I did was I actually helped him reprice his high level program to a minimum of $1,500, and on the front end he was offering a $27 bootcamp, which I told him we should definitely increase that to at least $37, just so that we're definitely profitable. With coaching businesses, I noticed that like in the front end there's probably going to be a loss in terms of generating new customers, but in the back end that's where all the profits made. So I wanted to make sure that Dane was profitable in the back end. Now, just to note, the front end offer is what's known as a self-liquidating offer. This literally is an offer that is designed in order to offset the cost that it's going to cost you to acquire a new lead or a new customer, if you will. So for example, let's say you have a cost per customer acquisition cost of $30, for example. Well, what you would do is to offset that cost, you would actually make them buy a $37. So now you've just made $7 back. Does it sound like much? But you have upsells in the back end to make it extremely profitable, because $7 isn't that much. Even big businesses such as like McDonald's, they actually on average spend $2 in order to get a customer in that spends $1, which basically sounds like they're going to be losing $1 per new customer that they generate. That's actually what it sounds like on the front end. However, McDonald's is extremely smart, and they train their staff in how to basically upsell and cross-sell certain things. So whenever you go into McDonald's and you only spend like 99 cents on a cheeseburger, for example, they will always ask you, do you want some fries and a drink with that? Which is why they're extremely profitable and a multi-billion-dollar business. So that's basically what a self-liquidating offer is. It helps you offset the cost that it's going to cost you to acquire a new lead or a new customer. And again, for someone like McDonald's, millions of customers per day that they generate, they look like on the front end that they're losing a whole bunch of money, but because they're such a big business and they're so good at upselling you on certain items, they obviously make way more profit in the back end. So let's talk about the business model real quick. So the front end offer that Dane was actually offering is a 5-day boot camp that basically helps people gain clarity on what/how to get their dream life and their career. And he charged that at $37 after increasing it from $27. And again, again, that's the self-liquidating offer that I was talking about. So that's like a 5-day boot camp where he jumps on like a live call with people, a group live call with people, and he trains them on how to actually, you know, get their dream life, how to map out and plan their dream life and stuff like that. It's really helpful as well, to be honest with you. He's got some awesome results and client testimonials. So after people purchase the actual boot camp, they're immediately hit with, and this is like actually on ClickFunnels page itself. So once somebody sees the ad, clicks through, buys the actual boot camp for $37, there's immediate one-time offers or like special offers that get hit to them, which are basically like upsells. So there's like a 3-step upsell. So if you decide to jump in on Dane's bootcamp, there's actually upsells to certain programs, other training, that sort of stuff. And all in all, you can actually make an additional $400 there in the almost the back end, I guess, but it's still on the front end, if you will. It's kind of like the middle of the funnel. So it's kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say it's the immediate front end because that's the immediate $37 deal. Then there's upsells and cross sells and downsells that help him pull in an additional $400. Okay, guys. So once people actually join Dane's 5-day bootcamp, which is again the $37 self-liquidating offer on the front end, what happens is Dane jumps on calls and actually trains them and coaches them via online calls. Once those 5 days are basically up, Dane then upsells them again, but this time on a higher mastermind program, which is a $1,500 program. So I want to show you the 6-figure funnel on how we actually did this. So as you can see, we have a funnel here. There's only a couple of steps here. It's literally like 3 to 4 steps, something like that. But here we have at the very beginning the ads. So we were running Facebook and Instagram ads to a ClickFunnels page, and we were generating anywhere from $37 on the front end and then an additional $400 depending on whether they got the upsell, whether they decided to actually, you know, take the upsell and the other additional training Dane was offering. Then what happens is they jump into the bootcamp, which is this guy here with the confused face. Dane helps them with the questions that they have and he coaches them. Then what happens after the 5-day bootcamp is another upsell. So this upsell is what's indicated here with the arrow with the plus $1,500 mark on it. So that's then upsell into a new high ticket student, if you will, and that is where the money is basically made. This right here it's so simple, yet it's literally a 6-figure funnel. We literally took this business from 0 to 12K in literally 24 days of running the actual ads. So as you can see, the revenue per one customer would be anywhere between $1,537 to $1,937, depending on whether they decided to take the actual upsells and stuff like that on the back end of ClickFunnels. So I just want to quickly show you the behind the scenes on like the actual ad, and I'm just going to, as you can see, I just quickly refresh that just to show you that kind of like, yes, these results are real. You won't be able to see the purchases anymore or anything like that, just because I believe that's actually due to the iOS 14's update and stuff like that. So if you are watching this and you've not watched my iOS 14 update kind of video on whether or not Facebook ads is going to be dead or not, I highly recommend you watch that. But as you can see, I'm just going to go through and kind of load up and make you see that these results are actually real and that we only actually spent around $1,311 to be exact behind the scenes. I'm obviously going to cover up the name of the business and stuff like that, but you guys already know the client's name's Dane. But I just want to make sure that the ad sets that we were targeting are blocked up as well. So I'm actually going to break down the maths. Now that we've seen the back end, we've seen Dane's testimonial, we've seen that the results are real. Let me actually break down the actual maths of this. So what's going to happen is on the front end, what we did was in total, we actually spent $1,311 in total. That gave us 503 link clicks. That means our cost per link click was obviously $2.60 because what you do is obviously you take the amount spent divided by how many link clicks you get. That's how much your CPC is, your cost per click. Then those 503 clicks turned into 34 leads because obviously at the very beginning, there was actually like a 2-step process, like normal checkout sort of stuff. You input your details first, so your first name, last name, email address, then that takes you onto the payment page to initiate your checkout. Pretty simple stuff here. So that was actually how we was collecting the leads on the front end. So we actually generated 34 leads, which again is a cost per lead of $38.57. Quite expensive, but for what we was kind of doing, offsetting it, as you can see, we were only losing $1 on the front end, as you can see, because we was having a self-liquidating offer of a minimum of, you know, $37 on the front end if those leads obviously actually joined them and paid for the 37 program. But obviously these are just leads we're talking about. So as you can see, it's going to get very profitable in a second. So out of those 34 leads, we turned 6 of those into customers. Does it sound like much? And our cost per acquisition cost sounds extremely crazy, but it was way more than profitable in the back end. And this is the thing that online coaches don't understand. I'm going to break down the numbers behind this in more detail on why a lot of online coaches fail as well. So stay tuned for that. So that actually turned out to those 6 customers that we actually generated from the 34 leads actually turned into 6 high level students that actually bought his $1,500 program in the back end. So that means again, we just still still had an acquisition cost of those particular customers of $219. So that basically means in total, again, we spent $1,311 and we brought back $11,582 because of the upsells and how many people jumped in. There were 6 people and most of them took like the upsells and stuff like that. So we was able to generate more revenue in the back end. That means we actually made a net, if you take away advertising costs, this business, we actually made them net $10,270 to be exact. So as you can see, it was way more than profitable. We literally put in, like I said, $1,311 and we brought back out in revenue $11,582, which means our average ROAS was 8.82 in terms of ROAS. So I just want to give you a quick reminder. The ads again were only live from the 20th of August to the 12th of September, which is actually 23 days. I kind of factor in like it's 24 because of the time zone differences and stuff like that. So I'm over here in the UK and it kind of, works like that. So there was actually a delay, even though we was only running ads for the 23 to 24 day period. There was a delay from when the people joined the front end program, which is the bootcamp, to when they purchase, of course, because they have to go through the actual 5 days of training first before they get upsold by Dane into his higher level program. So I want to actually break down real quick why most e-commerce / coaching businesses fail when it comes to Facebook ads, especially when it comes to online coaches. You see, they are still using what I like to call the broke man's funnel. I know it's a little bit of a funny name, but really is true. This is what you call the broke man's funnel. You see, what most online coaches are doing and most e-commerce businesses are doing, especially when they're selling like high ticket stuff, is they're trying to get an immediate ROI from their Facebook ads without any sort of upsells, without any sort of like self-liquidating offers, without any funnel structure, without any clear like sales process or buyer's journey or any sort of strategy or any sort of patience for that matter. So this is the big mistake most entrepreneurs are making, most advertisers are making, most online coaches are making, and most e-commerce businesses are making. They're trying to use Facebook and Instagram ads to directly sell a $1,500 to $2,000 or even $1,000 to $2,500 product directly on Facebook ads without any funnel or anything like that. So this is what their funnel actually looks like. And again, this is called the broke man's funnel, and you don't want to do this. You see, selling a high ticket program or some sort of high ticket item or product directly with Facebook ads without any sort of like funnel in place is pretty much and virtually impossible. The reason being is because people don't know you. The traffic's just absolutely freezing cold. No value has been built up, and that's underlined for a reason. You really need to build up value here. And $1,500 or $1,000 isn't just a purchase you make off a whim. Well, the masses don't make off a whim. You need to really build up that trust, that authority figure, and that credibility, which is why Dane used a lower ticket item or coaching program to actually get people into his ecosystem, if you will, and then he warmed them up to the idea of going into his higher level programs, which were $1,500. So that's exactly why you must do this. You also want to make sure that you remember that you have to, like I said, like Dane did, you have to have a low barrier of entry point somewhere in your business, somewhere in your funnel, which is like your self-liquidating offer, which is like a lower ticket item, so that you can then move people up the value ladder into your higher level programs. So that's, once you have a self-liquidating offer, you also want your one-time offers, your upsells, your cross-sells, your downsells, and you also want to make sure you're using some sort of funnel to automate this so you can see all your metrics and know your numbers down to the T. Which brings me onto this thing. You must automate this, and you must have some sort of metric tracking in place that's gonna track your numbers down to the T, because you need to know how much you can basically spend to acquire a lead, and then you need to know the conversion rate from how many of those leads then turn into actual customers, and how many of those customers you can then upsell into your high level programs. Once you know that, you basically know when you put $1 in, you can get $8 back. So all you need to do then from then on is literally just scale that up by putting more dollars in. And guys, what you must remember is that you must have an awesome product / program for this all to work, of course, because even David Ogilvy himself, the actual godfather of advertising himself, direct response marketing himself, wouldn't be able to sell your product or course or program if it just sucked. Basically, there's no way around that. And again, once you have all of this, it simply becomes a matter of putting $1 into a machine and bringing $8 back in this particular case. So as you can see, guys, once you know all your numbers, you have a funnel in place, it's all being tracked, you understand your numbers down to the T, and you can see that every time you put $1 in, you're bringing $8 back. All it becomes then is literally a matter of, or a case of just literally putting more dollars in the machine to 8x your money. So if you are an online coach or an e-commerce business and you want to work for an agency that literally guarantees your results and is quite literally impossible to lose money working with, make sure that you go to our website and check out the results that we have on there and book in a free non-salesy growth analysis call. I know what it's like for some of you e-commerce e-commerce business owners and some of you online coaches where you just get sleazy messages all the time, sleazy salesy messages all the time, and you jump on these calls and they're just a complete waste of your time. Well, what we're doing is non-sleazy growth analysis calls where we're actually going to break down exactly where it is you need to scale, what you need to do in order to even get there, and you're going to walk away from this with extreme clarity. So I'll leave my website right there on the screen, guys. All you have to do is go to that website, take a look at the case studies, book in a call if you think we're going to be a great fit. Also, guys, if you want to, make sure you check out our case study video on our website. It's actually below our website, or you can go to the link at the bottom of the screen right now, which is, mcg-agency.co/case study. And this is how we've been able to routinely scale e-commerce brands to multiple 6 and 7 figures through our scientifically backed method of advertising. I kind of mentioned it there a second ago, but we basically approach Facebook ads in a very different way. We see it as an exact science. So once you know your numbers down to the T, it's literally a matter of putting $1 into a machine and bringing $5 back, $10 back, sometimes even $12 back. So that being said, guys, hope you are doing well, staying safe. Hopefully this COVID thing, kind of subsides and the iOS 14 doesn't go crazy with the Facebook ads. If you haven't watched my video yet as to why that's not something to panic about, definitely check that out. With that being said, make sure you drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure if you're an e-commerce business owner or online coach and you're trying to scale your business, make sure you take a look at our case studies or even book in a call to speak with me directly.